Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to our lectures. Today we're going to be doing a review of everything that we've learned so far. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start by going over our roadmap, which we talked about in the first lecture. So remember that Arabic is a language, and all language, it's made up of words. And the three basic types of words found in the Arabic language are the ism, the fi'l, and the harf. The ism being the noun, the fi'l being the verb, and the harf is things that don't really fit into either category, like prepositions. And we talked a lot about the four properties of the ism. So those being definite or indefinite, gender, number, and status. And then we talked about how words can come together in certain patterns to make either an incomplete thought, which are fragments, or a complete thought, such as a sentence. And we talked about the first type of fragment, which is the Mawsuf Sifa fragment. And the Mawsuf Sifa fragment was the descriptive phrase. So if we wanted to say big sky or blue sky, we would know that that is a Mawsuf Sifa, and we know how to make that type of phrase now. In the upcoming lectures, we're going to learn two more types of phrases. The first one being the jar majroor, and the next one being the idlafa fragment. So just to kind of prime your brains that this is going to be what we're going to be studying next, inshallah. And then we talked about sentences. Sentences are complete thoughts, and there are two types of sentences in Arabic. There's the jumla ismiya, which is the nominal sentence, and then there's the jumla fi'liya, which is the verbal sentence. So if I wanted to say the sky is big, that would be a jumla ismiya, and if I said Sarah helped Ahmad, that would be a jumla fi'liya, because there's a verb. And just remember, the most important thing in Arabic is learning the patterns. So in the actual word itself, a certain pattern will give us information about the ism, about the word. So we learned that the ending of the ism can tell us things like gender, number, and status. And then we also learned how certain patterns can convey the meaning of certain types of fragments, like the Mawsuf Sifa, and we're going to learn the pattern of jar majroor and idafa next, inshallah. Then we went on to talk a little bit more in detail about definiteness. So in Arabic, ism, so we're now talking about the properties of ism. An ism can be definite or indefinite. And there are two ways for an ism to be definite. The first way is that there is al and no tanween. And remember, a definite, it kind of has the meaning of the, or it makes it very specific. So if you want to say the book, you would say al-kitab, al-kitabu. Another way for something to be definite is the names of people or places. They are automatically definite by meaning because we're talking about specific people. So the word Muhammad can take tanween and there's no al, but it is still definite because this is a specific name of a person. So Muhammadun is definite due to it being a specific person. And then the indefinite ism gets translated with a. So if you want to say a book, you would say kitabun, and there would be no al, and there is tanween. So this is an indefinite ism. Next, we talked about gender. There are two genders in Arabic. There's the masculine and the feminine. And we know that masculine is the default. So most isms are masculine unless there's a reason to make it feminine. And we learned 3 reasons an ism can be feminine. The first is that it is feminine by meaning. So for example, the word which means mother, it's referring to a female, and so the ism is also feminine. Next, we have the feminine ending, the atun ending. Usually when you see this type of ending, the word is feminine. And finally, we learned that broken plurals are treated as feminine singular. So these are the 3 reasons we've learned so far that ism is considered feminine. Next, we learned about number. So in Arabic, an ism can take 3 types of number. It can be singular, dual, meaning 2, or plural. So for example, Muslimun is one Muslim, is referring to one Muslim, and Muslimani is referring to 2 Muslims. And then in the plural, an ism, so this is 3 or more. The plural can either be a sound plural, which follows a specific pattern, such as Muslimuna. And this is talking about a group of Muslims, and there's a specific pattern here, the una pattern. Another type of plural is the broken plural, and this doesn't have a specific pattern, and it's learned mainly through experience and exposure to vocabulary. So for example, the word kitab is singular and the plural is kutub. So kutub means books, and it is a broken plural. So this is treated as feminine singular, like we learned in our rule. And there's one caveat to this rule, which is if the broken plural is referring to a group of men, for example, rijal is a broken plural that means men, you can treat this broken plural as masculine plural because it is referring to a group of men. And then finally, we talked about status. This is the 4th property of the ism. There are 3 types of status. There is the rafa, nasab, and jar. Rafa being the doer, nasab being the detail, and jar being after the preposition. And all of this information was summarized into our ism chart, which is very important that this chart is memorized. And so here we have the masculine and the feminine chart, and we break it up by, so first it's broken up by gender, and then by number, we have singular, dual, and plural, and then finally by status, rafa, nasab, and jar. So this one chart can tell us a lot of information about the ism. So for example, let's look at Muslimaini. Muslimaini here it's giving us, we can tell by the ending that it's masculine, we can tell that it's dual, and we can tell that it is nasab or jar, and we can differentiate by context. Okay, let's look at muslimatun. Muslimatun, it is feminine, it's plural, and it is rafa. Okay, this sums up what we have learned so far. Let's do a couple of examples from the Quran to really solidify what we have learned. So here we have Surah Fatiha. And the first thing you do when you're reading Arabic, is you have to understand, is the word that I'm looking at, what type of word is it? Is it an ism? Is it fi'l or harf? So let's read. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Let's look at this first verse. We have the word alhamdu. Is alhamdu an ism, a fi'l, or a harf? How do we know? First, we need to look, does it have some of the properties of the ism? Meaning, can we tell, is it definite? Can we see the number? Can we see that it has a gender? And can we see that it has a status? Well, already right off the bat, I see that there's al and there's no tanween. This is showing me the pattern of definiteness, and definiteness is a property of an ism, so I know that this is an ism. I know that it is definite because there is al and no tanween. What about number? It's singular because there's no dual pattern. I don't see ani and I don't see una in the ending, and it's not a broken plural either. Gender, it's masculine by default. We know that. It's not, alhamdu, the meaning means praise and thanks, so that's not an intrinsically feminine thing. It doesn't have the atun ending, and it is not a broken plural either, so by default it is masculine. And finally, the status, we see that there is a dhamma at the end, so it must be in rafa status. So alhamdu is playing as the subject and doer of the sentence. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the word Allah. So this is actually lillahi. Lillahi is actually two words in one. It is the preposition li, which means to, and the word Allah, which is Allah's name. So this is actually two words written in one word. And now what's interesting about this we will talk about in the future, but this is a jar majroor fragment or prepositional fragment. Okay, don't worry about that right now, just wanted to introduce it and prime your brains for it. But let's analyze this ism, the word Allah. Okay, first we can tell, is it definite or indefinite? Well, the word Allah is the name of Allah, so it makes it proper. Therefore, it is a definite ism. It is a singular ism. There's no plural here. There's no ending, and Allah is one and it's singular. So the word Allah is actually very unique in that it cannot be made plural, subhanAllah. So it is singular. There's only one Allah. It is masculine, that there's no reason to make it feminine. Masculine is the default here. And fourth, what is the status? Well, let's look at the ending. We have that there's a kasra, and kasra is the symbol for jar, so this is in jar status. And inshallah, we were going to learn later why it is in jar status. There is a reason for that. But right now, I just want you to be able to notice that it is in jar status. You don't need to be able to tell me why it is jar right now. Okay, let's look at the word al-alamin. Al-alamina. The translation of this, it means the worlds. So all praises to Allah, Lord of the worlds. We can tell, is it definite or indefinite? Immediately we see there is al and there's no tanween, so it is a definite ism. It is it singular, dual, plural? Well, we see it has the ina ending. So what do we know about the ina ending? Let's look here. We have here muslimina. So we know that it is masculine, plural, and it is either rafa, it is either nasab or jar. So we know that it is masculine. we know it is plural because of this ina ending, and it is either nasab or jar. So right now we will just leave it at that. It's either nasab or jar. Later, as we learn more fragments and patterns, we will be able to know for sure if this ism is in nasab or jar. And let's do one more example together. Let's do the word as-sirat. As-sirata. So let's see again, is it definite or indefinite? We see there is al, there's no tanween, so again this is a definite ism. Is it singular or plural or dual? It doesn't have one of the sound plurals or one of the patterns, so this is a singular ism. And is it masculine? Is it feminine? Masculine is the default, and there's no reason to make it feminine. And finally, what is the status? We see that there's a fatha at the end, and that is a symbol for nasab. So this is in the nasab status. I hope this exercise was beneficial, and inshallah, continue to read the Quran, try to pick out the isms, try to identify what are the 4 properties of the ism. Do this as a homework, as a practice. Also, keep reviewing the ism chart here. And inshallah, in the next lecture, we're going to learn about pronouns. We're going to learn about some more fragments. And then we will move on to fi'ls, which is very exciting. And inshallah, we'll keep learning Quran together and studying together. Let's end our lecture here. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope the lectures are going well and they're easy to understand. Please feel free to leave any questions, comments, or suggestions. Thanks again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.